I'm sharing this with you in love, and I hope you receive these words in love, so please keep an open mind, and your body will surely follow. This is a topic that we don't usually want to discuss in church, but we don't live in church, we live in the world, and most of us are familiar with this. This particular word was derived from a word that described a color, black, negro in Spanish or Portuguese, Niger in Latin, and noir in French. I personally like the word noir, but of course in our country another term was chosen to not only describe a color, but a whole race of people. This term showed its face as far back as the late 17th century, anytime between 1650 and 1699, and its intentional destruction has lasted for 400 years. This derogatory word was considered important enough by 350 scholars, specialists, and editors to be included in the English language for every reader, writer, or speaker to have access to its origins in a legal documentation and recording known as the dictionary. I have a copy that's 67 years old. It was originally published in 1947. One dictionary, 350 scholars. Imagine how many more dictionaries have been created, reproduced, and shared nationally and internationally with millions, and how many more scholars agreed. In the last 20 years, this country has switched the meaning of the word to a politically correct version and definition to ease the conscience of the original intention. This word is nigger. Good nigger. There's no such thing as a good nigger. There's no such thing as a good nigger. There's no such thing as a good nigger. There's no such what? There's no such thing as a good nigger. There's no such thing as a good nigger. There's no such thing as a good nigger. There's no such nigger. Good nigger. Constructive criticism, how can that be? Is there ever a constructive way to disrespect me? Useless, dumb, stupid, ugly, blackie. These are all terms that criticize. How can they ever be constructively utilized? I think it's time we realize and recognize there is no way to constructively criticize. Open your eyes and despise the lies. Crave the truth. Criticism is disrespect. There is damage my sisters, brothers, and I need to correct. Is there a nice way to call a man a trifling dog, or a pleasant way to call a sister a raggedy hoe? No, I didn't think so. Think before you speak. Allow your verbalization to be positive, powerful, strong, purposeful, instead of negative, worthless, simple-minded, and weak. There is no such thing as a good nigger. Well, you a nigger. You just good at it. Well, you're not that kind of nigger. You're one of the good ones. Calling someone a good nigger is just like calling someone a good criminal. There's nothing fine about a criminal mind. And there's nothing okay about disrespecting me or my people that way. A good nigger is just like being semi-pregnant. Either your womb is sheltering your seed for future growth or it isn't. Being somewhat talented. Either you have it or you're paying for it. Being partially infected with AIDS. Either your immune system is shutting down or it isn't. Being halfway there. Either you are where you are or where you want to be. Being a part-time Muslim, either you trust Allah or you don't. Being a Sunday Christian, either you will follow your divine creator's commandments daily or you won't. There's no such thing as a good nigger. This is my dilemma. First of all, how is it that a group of people can come up with a word based on their pitiful philosophies to describe a race of people whom they don't understand, and that word becomes the law or golden rule of the land? Secondly, how is it that some of my twisted sisters and brothers actually think that this fictitious word nigger actually means ignorant person? Now, I know ignorant non-black people, Hispanic, Asian, and Caucasian. Their ignorance don't make them niggas.
Say
Why
that.
I be a nigga?
Say that.
If you think I'm an ignorant black woman, then just call me an ignorant black woman under your breath. But don't make me a nigga. There's no such thing as a good nigga. Lastly, how is it that some of my even more unenlightened sisters and brothers think that there is a justifiable time and place to use this illness? There is no affectionate, jovial, kind, loving, pleasant, respectable way to call each other niggas. Have you ever looked into between the lines in an attempt to define a word? It's often labeled as a noun or a verb. Nigga started out as an adjective to describe a person, you know, black. Then it was switched to a noun to replace a person, you know, nigga. Of the 6 definitions that have been created in time, the last 3 are the hardest to find, and the ones that seem to disrupt my mind. An ignorant black person, an impolite name for a Negro, or an ignorant person, the politically correct term. We all know we put the voodoo on it. It was created for us and often used by us. Ignorant people, but I've never known a restaurant full of rowdy Russians to be referred to as a bunch of rowdy niggas. I've never heard a bus full of Mexicans being referred to as a bus full of rowdy niggas, or a salon, a nail salon full of loud-talking Chinese women being called a bunch of loud-talking niggas. We all know whom it was intended for. The first 3 definitions are much easier to find. They're in most dictionaries and even online. Nigga, definition 1, a black person. Nigga, definition 2, a member of a dark-skinned race. Nigga, definition 3, a member of a socially disadvantaged class of persons. So this is where we're at now. Nigga means to be black, dark, and socially dysfunctional. Each definition preceded by the phrase, usually offensive. Imagine that. But not too offensive to be placed in dictionaries for everyone to see, man, woman, boy, and girl, especially collegiate dictionaries for all of our youth to prepare them for the real world. And deliberately misspelling or mispronouncing the word doesn't take away the hurt or the pain. I mean, nigger, N-I-G-G-E-R, is not the same as nigga, N-I-G-G-A. No matter how you spell it or pronounce it, you can't misspell the disrespect away. If someone misspells the words stupid, black, fat, or dumb, it may be funny to some because you can't insult me in writing and call me out of my name, misspelling your slurs. That's a disrespect to yourself and your pathetic spelling game. But whether an unnecessary derogatory term is misspelled or spoken out loud, seen on the wall, sent through a text or an email, being called out of your name, being called a nigger because of a physical trait you have no control over is a preventable shame. And once it's spoken to you, you will never be the same. You are black and divinely made. Why don't we conveniently change the laws in this country? That's what this country, the U.S., is known to do. Set it up so every time you use the term nigger, it's no longer in reference to the other person. You're talking about you. America wouldn't know what to do. This sickness does not compare to my brother Kenny and I standing around having a debate or a spat. You walk up and say something insulting. We ain't having none of that. No correlation. Disrespect must be kept in check. Do you finally understand my agitation? The next time you want to unwind, drop a few lines to the absent minds of Editor-in-Chief Frederick C. Mish, President Joseph J. Esposito, and publisher Thomas E. Stanley of the Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary, 10th edition, right out of Springfield, Massachusetts, the United States of America. The people who think we should continue to accept this term as a legitimate germ in the supercultural life. Now, if you have a beef with the amount of times and the way I release the word nigger from my lips onto your ears, then think twice before you allow the word to fall out of your mouth for others to hear. There's no such thing as a good nigger. Keep in mind the way you see others in situations, deal with others and offer affirmations comes from how you feel about your inner side. You can admit this or resist this, it still remains true. If your only interpretation of your own people is that we're all niggas, then what does that say about you? If all you hang out with the niggas, then what are you gonna do? Don't you know others, others, non-black folk, 90% of the time think the same way about you too? If you don't verbally portray it, others will have no reason to say it. If you don't like it, don't recite it. If you don't choose it, don't use it. There's no such thing as a good nigga because niggas don't exist. I'm not a nigga and my people are not niggas. Trust that, check that, correct that, teach that, respect that, remember that. And the next time you're on Facebook, post that. There's no such thing as a good nigga.
Oh, I'm posting.
Happy Black History Month, celebrated every day. Peace out.